Let's go ahead and talk about the August 18th, 2025 episode of Monday Night Raw, where they were live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania tonight. And yeah, we kick off the show with the first segment of the night where we see Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman, the Vision. They come out there and Paul Heyman starts talking about Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, calling Braun Breaker a badass and everything, calling Bronson Reed the tribal thief, and then he was talking about Seth Rollins, where Seth Rollins beat Roman Reigns and pinned him in the main event of WrestleMania, not just once, but twice. So yeah, that's what Paul Heyman was saying there, and then he was going to pass off the mic to Seth Rollins, but then immediately he gets interrupted by main event Jey Uso. Jey Uso comes out there, but he's in the crowd, and Jay's doing his thing and all that stuff in the crowd, and pretty much he does got a match against Braun Breaker tonight, and he notices that Braun Breaker's not paying attention to him, and he tells him that he better start paying attention to him before he beat his ass tonight. So yeah, that's what he was saying there, and then Seth Rollins starts getting into Braun Breaker's head, pretty much saying that Jey Uso doesn't respect you, and that Jey Uso thinks your family's fat asses and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what Seth Rollins is doing, getting in the head of Braun Breaker. Breaker starts getting pissed off. He's look like he's about to go into the crowd and fight Jay, but then Seth and Bronson Reed holds him back. And then Paul Heyman says, well, how about this? How about y'all, since you don't want no rules or anything, how about you do stuff with no rules? Like the Great Sandman, the Great One, Rob Van Dam, the late and great Sabu, and then he says the late and great Tommy Dreamer, and he says, I know he ain't dead, but he should be. So yeah, that's what Paul Heyman was saying there, and Braun Breaker was like, oh, is he still alive? So yeah, that's what's going on there. That was pretty funny there. And then Jay says, I already know what you want, and he says, yeah, how about tonight, we have an Extreme Rules match. So yeah, that's what happened there, and Jey Uso accepts. So later on tonight in the main event, it'll be Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker in an Extreme Rules match, because they are in Philly tonight. So yeah, that would be pretty cool. We haven't seen an Extreme Rules match in like a minute. Well, we've seen no disqualification matches and all that stuff, just not the title of Extreme Rules. But yeah, that's going to be later on tonight. But then, after that segment, we get to a backstage segment where we see Io Sky getting ready backstage, and then we see Asuka and Kairi Sane, the Kabuki Warriors, coming up, and Asuka starts apologizing to Io Sky for what happened last week. Io accepts her apology, and then they said, do you want us to be at ringside? And she says no, she wants to take care of this all by herself. So yeah, that's what she tells them, but next it'll be Io Sky versus Raquel Rodriguez, one-on-one in the first match of the night, tonight on Raw. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So the next thing that happened on Monday Night Raw, we get to the first match of the night. It was Io Sky versus Raquel Rodriguez with Roxanne Perez at ringside, the Judgment Day. So yeah, we get to this match, and this match, it was a really good match between Io and Raquel. They was going back and forth and everything. They got great chemistry in the ring because, you know, their matches down at NXT in the past and all that stuff was some really good stuff. And Io has been like on the ball this whole year when it comes to the matches and stuff. So yeah, she was having another great match against Raquel Rodriguez tonight. It was back and forth and everything. At one point, Io counters the Tejada Bomb into Hurricane her into the corner, like face first into it, and then she hits the double knees to the face onto Raquel in the corner. At one point, Roxanne was trying to interfere, but she got hit with a crossbody by Io. But after that, that's when everything started falling apart for Raquel. And then at the ending, we did see Io climbing up on the top turnbuckle, hitting the over-the-head moonsault onto Raquel, pinning her for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Io Sky defeated Raquel Rodriguez tonight in a one-on-one match. That match, it was a pretty good match. But then after the match ended, we see Roxanne Perez coming in there attacking Io Sky after the match, beating her down and everything. It became 2-on-1 up until Rhea Ripley comes running down there, making the save, saving Io Sky. Io Sky was fighting back, drop kicking Raquel Rodriguez into the ropes, and then we see Rhea hitting a big boot onto Raquel, sending her over the top rope. So yeah, that's what happened there with Rhea Ripley saving Io Sky from the Judgment Day. But yeah, that's wiping there. Pretty good stuff for the match and all that stuff. I'll give it 3.5 stars. That's why I'll give it. It was pretty good stuff. But then, after the match, we see Jackie Redman interviewing LA Knight backstage. LA Knight was talking about the Fatal 4-Way match and all that. up until CM Punk comes up, and CM Punk was trying to get LA Knight to work together and trying to get Jey Uso to work together to go ahead and take on Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed, because them going against them all by themselves is not a good idea. So that's what CM Punk is trying to get LA Knight to do. But LA Knight was talking about how CM Punk done cost him 2 world title matches, and that, he's sick and tired of it, and he says that he's going to go on anyways. It doesn't matter about it or anything like that. He says that he's going to go on to Clash of Paris and win the World Heavyweight Championship. So that's what LA Knight was saying there. But pretty good segment right there with that feud between CM Punk and LA Knight. Pretty good stuff. But up next, we're going to be seeing Xavier Woods versus Penta one-on-one up next on Raw. So I'll see you guys later. Till then. So the next thing to happen on Monday Night Raw, we get to the next match of the night. But before we talk about that match, we got to talk about a backstage segment. So we see Io Sky talking to Rhea Ripley backstage, thanking her for coming out there, saving her after her match because the Judgment Day was beating her down. So that's what she was doing there, thanking Rhea Ripley. But then Asuka and Kairi Sane comes up, and Asuka was not too happy about that. And Asuka starts yelling at Rhea and all that stuff. And then Rhea was talking about, where were you at? And Asuka was saying that Io didn't want him at ringside. So they was going back and forth and everything. And then Io Sky starts freaking out, yelling and all that. So that's what happened there. And then Asuka and Kairi Sane walked away, and Io does as well. But that's what happened there. Pretty good segment. But then after that segment, we get to the next match of the night. It was Penta versus Xavier Woods with Kofi Kingston at ringside, the New Day, and Grayson Waller. So we get to this match, and this match was a pretty good one. It was back and forth and everything. At one point, we actually see Xavier Woods take control of this match, trying to hit the honor roll onto Penta, but then Penta catches him, hitting the Penta driver onto him. Woods kind of rolled to the ropes pretty quickly. He goes for the pin, but then Kofi places Woods' foot on the bottom rope, getting him rope break, and then we see Penta taking out Grayson Waller and Kofi Kingston with a suicide dive, and at one point he super kicks Xavier Woods, and then he manages to hit the Mexican Destroyer onto Woods, pinning him for the 3 count. So Penta defeated Xavier Woods tonight in a one-on-one match. That's what happened there. Pretty good match though for that match. I'll give it 3 stars. That's what I'll give it. But that's what happened there. But up next we're going to be getting into a tag team match. It will be Finn Balor and JD McDonough of the Judgment Day versus Dragon Lee and Mr. Iguana in a tag team match up next on Raw. And this is Mr. Iguana's in-ring debut on Raw. So I'll see you guys later. Till then. So the next thing to happen on Monday Night Raw, we get to the next match of the night. It was the WWE World Tag Team Champions Finn Balor and JD McDonough with the Intercontinental Champion Dominic Mysterio, the Judgment Day versus Dragon Lee and Mr. Iguana in a tag team match. So we get to this tag team match, and this match, it was a pretty good one. It was back and forth and everything. At one point, Finn was about to pick up the pinfall victory over Dragon Lee, but then Mr. Iguana breaks at the pin, and at one point, Mr. Iguana takes out JD McDonough outside the ring with a crossbody, but then Finn starts picking up the upper hand on Dragon Lee, but then Dragon Lee starts fighting back with Finn, and then at one point, we actually see Dragon Lee taking control of this match, but then JD gives up on the ring apron, distracting the ref, and while he gets the ref distracted, that's when Dominic grabs Dragon Lee's foot, and Dragon Lee's distracted by Dominic, but then Finn comes up hitting a shotgun dropkick onto Dragon Lee in the back, knocking him into the corner. He climbs up the top turnbuckle, jumping off with the coup de grace onto Dragon Lee, pinning him for the 3 count. So the Judgment Day defeated Dragon Lee and Mr. Iguana tonight in a tag team match, but then after the match ended, we see Dominic Mysterio coming into the ring, and then the Judgment Day starts attacking Dragon Lee and Mr. Iguana after the match, beating them down, and then Dominic got Dragon Lee and looks like he's about to put him through the announce table up until El Hijo del Vikingo comes up, jumping off the barricade with a drop kick onto Dominic, knocking him off the announce table, saving Dragon Lee, and El Hijo was beating down Dominic and JD McDonough and Finn Balor and everything. But then at the ending, we actually see Dominic hitting Van Kingo in the back of the head with the AAA Mega Championship, laying him out, and then Finn lays out Dragon Lee, and then we see Dominic climb up the top turnbuckle, jumping off with the frog splash onto Van Kingo, laying him out, and then we see the Judgment Day standing tall with Dominic holding up the AAA Mega Championship and the IC Championship as well. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good match, and what happened after the match was pretty good. I'll give it all 3 stars, that's why I'll give that, but yeah, that's what happened there. But then after that, we see Jackie Redmond interviewing the WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch was talking about everything that happened last week on Raw, and she was blaming Natalya and everything for Natalya getting laid out and all that stuff. And then she says that she'll see Natalya in the ring tonight, and she'll beat her and retain the title. So yeah, that's what's happening there. Up next, Becky Lynch will be defending the Women's IC Championship up against Natalya one-on-one up next on Raw. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So, the next thing to happen on Monday Night Raw, we get to the next match of the night. It was the WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch versus Natalya with Maxine Dupree and Akira Tozawa at ringside Alpha Academy in a one-on-one match for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. So, yeah, we get to this match. In this match, it was a really decent match right here. At one point in this match, we see Becky Lynch throwing Natalya's shoulder first into the ring post, where it injures her shoulder during this match. Both of them's going back and forth and everything, Natalya favoring her shoulder, but then at one point we actually see Becky Lynch beating down Natalya, locking on to disarm her, and then Natalya had to tap out. So yeah, Becky Lynch defeated Natalya to retain the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship, but then after the match ended, we see Maxine Dupree coming into the ring, helping Natalya out, trying to get her out of the ring, but then Becky Lynch pushes Maxine into Natalya, knocking Natalya off the ring apron, and then she locks on to disarm her onto Maxine. Maxine's tapping out, and Becky Lynch won't let go up until Nikki Bella comes running down there, making the save. She's going at it with Becky Lynch, going back and forth and everything, and then she manages to pick up Becky Lynch on her shoulders, hitting the Rack Attack 2.0 onto... So yeah, Nikki Bella lays out Becky Lynch with the Rack Attack 2.0, laying her out in the middle of the ring. For that match, what happened after the match, I'll give it all 2.5 stars, that's what I'll give it. But yeah, that's what happened there. And then after that, we see like a video pretty much from the pre-recorded podcast with Stephanie McMahon, and Naomi and Jimmy Uso was up there, and Naomi was talking about the big message, and they was going to reveal it, but then it stops because up next she'll be revealing the message. So yeah, that will be up next, where we're going to be hearing from Naomi, and yeah, we probably already got our guesses on what it is, but that will be up next on Raw. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So, the next thing to happen on Monday Night Raw. Now, before we get to the big announcement with Naomi, we got to talk about a couple of things that happened backstage. So, yeah, we did see Jackie Redmond interviewing Sheamus backstage about the whole Rusev situation and everything, but then Rusev comes up and both guys starts brawling up until security had pulled them apart, and then we see Adam Pearce telling them that they'll be facing off against each other at Clash in Paris in a Donnie Brooks match. So yeah, that's what's going on there, and yeah, they got a PLE match, so yeah, that's really great. But yeah, that's what happened there. But then after that, we see Jey Uso getting ready backstage, getting ready for his match against Braun Breaker tonight in the main event, and then we see CM Punk coming up, and CM Punk is trying to work together and all that with Jey at LA Knight and everything, and then Jey was telling him that he doesn't need his help, and he says that he's focused on the world title and everything, and he says that he don't want to be doing anyone favors. So yeah, that's what he tells Punk, and then Punk says, well, he's still there if he needs him. So yeah, that's what happened there. But then, after that, we get to the next segment of the night, where we see the Raw General Manager, Adam Pearce. He's standing in the ring, and he introduces the WWE Women's World Champion, Naomi. Naomi comes out there, and Naomi announces, a pregnancy. So, yeah, Naomi is pregnant, and, yeah, they showed a clip on the big screen where Jimmy Uso was announcing the pregnancy on Stephanie McMahon's podcast. So yeah, that's what happened there. Congratulations to both of them, and that's really great. But yeah, then Naomi kind of switched it up, going into character, which was pretty funny, and tells Adam Pearce that she's not going to be handing over her damn title to Adam Pearce, and he better get the hell out of her ring. So yeah, that's what he tells her, and he leaves out. And then Naomi was talking about how the only person that everyone better be thanking backstage is Big Jim. because Big Jim likes to Netflix and chill. So yeah, that's what she was saying there. And yeah, she says that they better be thanking him. But she says in 9 months and some change, she'll be coming back, returning, and getting back the Women's World Championship. So yeah, that's what Naomi said there, sending a message out to the locker room. But yeah, she lays the title down, relinquishing the title. And yeah, she says that ain't the first time she relinquished the title, and it'll probably never be the last. So yeah, that's what happened there. But yeah, it's great to see that, her and Jimmy Uso is going to be having a baby soon. But yeah, hopefully she will come back and win the Women's World Championship. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, that's what happened there. But then after that, we get to a backstage segment where we see the Judgment Day walking backstage, and Finn was asking where Dominic is at, and Roxanne M doesn't know, but then they spotted him talking to El Grande Americano, and then El Grande leaves out, and then Dominic says that, he's trying to make sure the Judgment Day stays on top. So yeah, that's what he was saying there, and he walks off, and then Finn starts looking and thinking. But yeah, that's what's been going on there. But yeah, up next, it'll be the main event. It'll be Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker in an Extreme Rules match in the main event of tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So, the next thing that happened on Monday Night Raw, we get to the next match of the night. It was the main event. It was Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker with Paul Heyman at ringside in a Extreme Rules match in the main event of tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. So yeah, we get to this match. In this match, it was a really good one. Both of these guys beating the hell out of each other. At one point, Braun Breaker injured his leg and his arm during this match, because at one point he got clotheslined over the top rope and landed onto a shopping cart full of weapons inside. So yeah, that was pretty wild. But yeah, they was using a bunch of weapons in this match, trash cans, chairs, and all that stuff. And then during this match, Jay almost picked up the win, because at one point he actually hits a spear onto Braun Breaker. He pinned him. 1, 2. The referee got drugged out the ring by the count of 2 because of Bronson Reed. So yeah, Bronson Reed came down there to help. He's going at it with Jey Uso, but the LA Knight comes down there going at it with Bronson Reed, and then Seth Rollins comes up attacking LA Knight from behind, and he hits a pedigree onto Jey Uso at one point, and then he was helping a referee up to try to get him in the ring to count the pin, but then CM Punk comes running down, and him and Rollins is going back at it, back and forth and everything, and then Rollins starts getting the upper hand. LA Knight was helping out CM Punk, beating down Seth Rollins, and then LA Knight was up on the ring apron, but then he gets knocked off the ring apron through a table because of Seth Rollins pushing CM Punk into him. And then we see CM Punk chasing Seth Rollins to the crowd, going at it and everything. And then Braun Breaker was taking control of this match, about to spear Jey Uso through the barricade up until Roman Reigns' theme song's playing. And he makes his return by spearing Braun Breaker outside of the ring. He throws him into the ring, and then we see Jey Uso plant him onto the table. He climbs up the top turnbuckle, jumping off of the Uso splash onto Braun Breaker through the table, pinning him for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Jey Uso defeated Braun Breaker tonight in a 1-on-1 match, but then while they're celebrating and all that stuff, Bronson Reed was ready to get into the ring with Roman, and Roman looks at me and tells him that pretty much he accepts his challenge at Clash in Paris. So yeah, it looks like it'll be Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed at Clash in Paris. But yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good main event. I'll say that was the match of the night right there. I'll give that whole match 4 stars. That's what I'll give it. But yeah, for tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw, I'll give it 8 stars. That's what I'll give it. It was a pretty good show. But yeah, that has been my Monday Night Raw, August 18th, 2025 reviews. Like, subscribe, follow me on all my social media accounts. I'll be down there in the description box. Follow me on my other YouTube channel, Word of Chris, and on my TikToks and all that stuff. So yeah, follow all those stuff. And yeah, I'll see you guys later for tomorrow night's NXT reviews. See you guys later. Till then.